Well, welcome to the Blue Pool. It's the first time back here for me in around about 5 years. I think it was a birthday trip when I was last down. So yeah, 5 years of have absolutely flown by. In actual fact, it was literally it was about I think a month before I started working for Tracker. So yeah, literally we're getting on for 5 years. So yeah, it's been a while. The lake looks a lot more grown up than I remember it. And obviously at this time of year, late September, it's that real kind of transition time. And to be fair, the lake looks gorgeous. We've had a wander around. We've done a draw for swims. And guess what? 5th out of 5. Yeah, usual score. So similar to Bramblemere this time last year. I never seem to do particularly well at draws. But I'm reasonably happy, to be honest. I've chosen the far bank. I'm not even exactly sure what swim number it is, but I can check later. So yeah, middle of the far bank. I certainly know from when I was here on that last trip 5 years ago, I know that there's some nice deep margins along this bank, because I distinctly remember when Signet Supremo, Mr. Johnny Walker, fell in, and I remember it well, just seeing the bottom of his boots disappearing. And then him popping up with his glasses in his hand and his phone in his pocket. So yeah, there's some nice depth in these margins. I've got Mr. Bransby, a couple of swims up to my left. So he's in the corner where I fished last time. Really like the look of that, if I'm honest. And then down to my right, down in, I think it's peg 12, our new recruit Ben Wales has dropped into there. So I can't blame him. And then I think we've got Tom Gibson, I believe, has gone in peg 7, just over the far side, and then that leaves Jerry Hammond, who's gone in pegs 10 and 11, which I believe fishes sort of up to the corner where Ben is in peg 12. So we're reasonably spaced out. Our media man Gaz, I think he's going to go on the car park bank, so he's got the choice of about 6 swims there. So I'd imagine he'll slot in there. But that really kind of brings us up to speed, to be honest. I've literally just bowed the gear round. It's quite soggy underfoot, and it's looking nice. So I suppose I better get some gear sorted out and soak up what looks to be a nice bit of September sun. So yeah, it's looking lovely. So lovely to be back. Great to bring the old ball cam back to Blue Pool, and we'll catch you all later. So ball cam out. Boo cam. Well, good afternoon. I've got the old Tempest Air up, kind of quite nicely nestled into the swim now. I'm starting to feel it a little bit more now that I've been here a little bit longer, like you do, just kind of feeling your way back into the session. And what I didn't mention earlier on was I've potentially got Tuesday night tonight, Wednesday, and possibly Thursday as well. I think the majority of us have at least got a couple of nights, and I think me and Gaz, all being well, if it's looking good, well, there's still stuff to be done, then we'll probably stay the Thursday as well. So a bit of a luxury really, having 3 nights at my disposal, especially midweek. So that's a bit of a treat. As I mentioned, yeah, bivvy's up. We've got all the kit round. I've had a couple of wanders around just to see the lads, see what they're up to. Some people have already got rods in. I haven't, but I have been sort of surveying my swim, and at the moment I'm not feeling the open water at all. I know on the previous trip when I was here, I fished and baited the open water, and it just wasn't the one. Similar time of year, so I'm going to start off sort of along the same lines, where it was the bites were forthcoming. Basically, the closer you could get to any kind of woodwork or snags, obviously where the fish felt a little bit less pressured, a bit more cover, and in the swim I'm in, which is the main reason why I've actually chosen this swim, even though I was last out the bag, I've got a lovely sort of outcrop of it's like an overhanging bush down to my right, probably between sort of 14 and 15 metres. And the reason I say metres is because I've got the Signet baiting pole with me. Now this is where this particular product comes absolutely into its own, and I don't really get the chance to fish sort of close, up close and personal spots like this, and a lot of the fishing that I do, and I absolutely love fishing like this, at close range, with the lighter rods and the fluorocarbon, and it's all just a little bit more ornate. I know my nickname's the Bull due to my slightly bullish manner, but you know, I can fish a little bit more innate and quiet, and perhaps with a little bit of grace. So the plan is I'm going to get the baiting pole out, and with the spoon and float, and probably either one extension for the baiting pole or two, I'm going to put the marker float bang into this overhanging tree, and firstly find out the depth. Is it going to be within swan depth? I'm really looking for sort of between sort of 5, 6, 7 foot to be out of swan depth. Anything less, I think it's going to be a little bit dangerous, and really just feel for what the bottom's like. So if I can drop the float in, I'll be able to pop it up, get the depth, and then just have a drag through. And I'll probably repeat it a couple of times just to sort of try and build up a better picture of what's actually going on down this side. Like I mentioned, it is a cast in a million to well, at least I think I mentioned it. It'd be a cast in a million to get a baited rig down there, and you just wouldn't get it close enough. So the baiting pole is going to be an absolute must. But I need to know what I'm fishing over first of all. I suspect it would have been done before. You know, the baiting poles aren't a new thing, and it's you know, it's a spot that I've identified straight away as probably being, you know, as far as visual features go in the swim, absolutely the number one. So I'm going to crack on with the baiting pole and the float, and see what we've got down there. So it's ball cam out. I'll catch you later. Let's do this. Right then, let's see if we can get this out there this time. Right, onto the extension. Just got to try and move this in without falling in. Float's popped up, that looks better. That work? I think so. We're just trying to check the bottom, see? And we're still rolling. See, the swan's already checking it out. He knows what's going on.
Oh, you're not checking the depth, you just want to see if it's clear or not?
No, I want to check the depth as well. Last thing I want to do. Anyway, back to ball cam. I've got Gary Hood has come to visit me, and he's wondering what the hell I'm up to. Anyway, I've dropped the float just off the snag tree. If I bring the rod into shot, yeah, you can see it now. I'm just tightening up to the float without moving it, hopefully. Right. Okay. Float is on the deck, so if we give ourselves a foot for the float, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it's nearly 7 foot down there. That is, yeah, you can even see the float. If I just zoom in now, I think you can just about see it through the undergrowth. Bit awkward, but it's there. 7 foot, perfect. We like that. I'm just gonna have one little drag, see what the bottom's like, tighten down to the float. It's gravel. That's nice. Excellent. Well, that's one rod sorted. Bully out for now. Goodbye. Right, let's have a look at the rig. Now, if I can come in a little bit closer, see we've got curved shank pattern hook. I've got a single grain of fake sweet corn, and it's sort of a similar sized piece of foam. It's basically just to sit the rig sort of fish spinner style or Ronnie style, however you want to call it, kind of in that sort of position, if you can see that okay, so that the hook is off the bottom. If there are issues with crayfish here, the last thing I want to be doing is fishing a hook bait on top of that gravel that I found, because that hook point will just get blunted straight away. So I want to fish an imitation bait off the bottom and quite a short hook length, so that's probably about 3 inches, and then we've got 3 ounce square pair inline with a shock leader sleeve. I really like them because these sort of rubber shock leader sleeves, they grip the lead really nicely, so you don't get the lead shooting up the behind it. If I move that back into shot, you probably be able to see that a little bit easier. So yeah, it's quite a tidy little rig, that 25-pound hook link and a couple of medium sinkers just down the hook link. Like I mentioned, it's only a short hook link, and I'm literally going to fish this over probably literally a handful of hemp and probably about 20 grains of sweet corn. I'm going to go in really easy and just see if we can just tempt something to drop down and have a graze. And I'm fairly confident with that spinner rig style presentation. If something does come over the spot, literally all it needs to be one fish, one gulp. There's enough buoyancy in that rig that it will travel, and you've got a chance of a hook hold. And then I've got the inline lead, hopefully to drive the hook home. It's gravelly, it's hard, so it's perfect for an inline. I don't often get the chance to fish sort of gravelly spots in close. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. So let's get this shipped out with a pole. Like I mentioned, about a handful of hemp and probably 20 or 30 grains of corn max. So let's give it a go. Ball cam out. Alright, okay, rig testing part 2. I've put a bit more putty on the rig. Yeah, that's better. Hook link sitting nice and flat. Hook point's proud. Not too far off. Literally, it's like the eye of the hook is kind of kissing the bottom, and that's the great thing with a product like these collapsible water bowls. It just means you can fill it up with lake water and just check your rigs before you put them in. I've done it in a glass or whatever before, but these are just easy because they're also great for your carp care as well, because it means you haven't got to carry a bucket around. I do like a bucket anyway, but yeah, I'm happy with that. Rig sat flat, hook point proud. It's not going to blunt, even if the crays do try and have a go. The only thing that might happen is the crays might nip off the putty, but I think I can live with that. Right, let's get it out there. Lovely, ball come out. Okay, let's go handheld for a minute. I mentioned about the mix. Let's have a little look. I've probably gone with a little bit more corn than what I mentioned a minute ago. Might just need a little bit of visual attraction. So that's the mainline power particles, the hemp, which I've added a bit of chili and a bit of salt, and some corn, and just a little squeeze of probably, I don't know, 20 ml of essential cell liquid, and that's about it. So yeah, I reckon probably a handful, be about that much. That's more than enough for a bite. Let's see if well, let's get it out there first and let's just see how it goes. So I'm happy with the rig. The bait's going to be quite simple. I'm going to go quite easy to start off with, one rod, and then have a think about second spot. Alright, let's do it. Alright, I'm going to set the camera rolling. We're not going to be able to see this too well, but let's give it a go, see if I can get this out first time. So the rig's in the spoon. I just need to add the bait and ship it out, and let's see how we go. I'm going to fish the rods on single sticks, which I'll show you in a minute, with snag bars at the front and the buttering behind the alarm, and I'm probably going to put a back lead on as well. So let's give it a go. fair, that went really well. It's about a foot off that bush. I'm happy with that. Oh, and the baited pole. Ooh. Perfect. Bloody well got one.
He's in it last time, first in.
Just don't do that.
Thank you, Gary. What are we saying then, boys? Let me get closer.
25.
That's a good 20. Lovely. 25 summit.
25-4.
Called by the man. Like Wales. 25-4. Lovely. Very nice carp. You got that, Gal?
Mm-hmm. Just get her back out of the water a little bit.
We've had one. That was bonkers. Literally sat here with Mr. Bransby, having a cup of coffee, and I've been looking down at the single rod that I put out earlier on with the baiting pole, and I've just been watching the line where it's. I'm just looking at it now because I've redone the rod. I'm just watching the line as it goes down to the back lead, and it was just starting to just flick. And I'm thinking, oh man, if there are crayfish in here, they're having it away down there. And I'm thinking, well, I've only put a handful of bait in. Anyway, with that, I'm literally saying to, oh man, crayfish are, you know, they're going to be a pest, these. And literally the rod's just gone whack round to the right on I've got it pretty much locked in. I've even now got a tent peg in front of my reel handle, because literally it's just snag fishing. I'm fishing right up to this overhanging tree down to my right, and the fish has surged, and literally on the rod I'm watching the tip just bending round, and I've pulled into it. The fish is surged, and I've managed to pull it out, and then it's given like a mega battle, probably not 10 minutes, but it was chugging around. And I thought, yeah, that's a nice fish. Looks a real long fish. And to be honest, I'm still a little bit buzzed up now from it. And it was £25, 4 ounces. So what an absolutely awesome start. Jerry One Rod is in the game. So yeah, mega chuffed. And it just shows what you can do with a hook bait and literally a handful of bait. Oh, that's Alex just checking his alarms. Yeah, a handful of bait in the right position. So absolutely 100%, there's no way I could have cast the rig to that spot. It's a lovely spot. I'm sure it has been fished by people before using a baiting pole, because just the angle to actually get the rig into position, you know, it requires the pole. So I'd probably say, yeah, I wouldn't have had that bite had I just been sort of swinging it out, or I don't know, maybe I would have done, but in terms of confidence and presentation, absolutely brilliant. Really enjoyed that. That's I think that's probably given us all a lift. It's always nice to get first fishing session, and as I mentioned, just to be putting one rod out onto what I saw was a visible feature, and to get a bite from it, you know, within a matter of hours over a small amount of bait is a really good sign. So rod's back out, just replicated exactly what I did before. Handful of bait, the mixed hemp and sweet corn, and yeah, just a little short rig, Ronnie style, spinner style, with the fake corn and the foam. So yeah, job done. Really happy. So for now it's ball cam out. We'll await what the remainder of this evening brings. It's probably about 6:30 now, so I think probably had the fish about an hour ago. We had Ben, Gaz, Alex, and Tom came into the swim just to, you know, get a bit of footage. It just meant we didn't have to repeat anything. It was literally get the fish out, weigh it, photograph it, hold it up, and then slip it back. So yeah, really nice moment, and it's mega to be back at Blue Pool. So game on, ball cam out. Oh, good evening. Just sat there with Mr. Bransby, having a wee drink, discussing what we're going to have for our evening meal, and a similar thing happened. Just watching the old line plink off the tip. I even had the camera set up down in the front of the swim for a few minutes, just watching it, and just out the corner of my eye, I just saw the tip just pull down. And we got a couple of bleeps, and then it kind of stopped, and then literally the rod's just whacked, and fish on. So yeah, carp number 2, hopefully, will be in the bottom of my landing net in a minute, but this is great fun. Come on, the one rod.
Get in.
That's a boy. I like it.
Go.
Well, Mr. Bransby's running the ball cam. Good evening, Mr. B.
Good evening.
We have carp number 2.
Indeed.
I think we got a bit of playing footage of this as well, didn't we?
We did, mate.
We've weighed her, put her in the retention sling, 23.10. Nice long clean mirror. So Jerry One Rod is rolling. Yeah, it's going well. So I'm going to get this one out and we'll have a little closer look at her up on the bank. So yeah, mega lovely.
The ball cam.
I don't know if it's the ball cam rolling.
Yeah.
Where is he? Oh, he's over there. Hello, Al.
Oi.
Looks like we've got a few rhino lights on the go at the minute, and I can't see anything. But what a mega carp!
Beautiful.
Number 2 of the session. Well happy. How are we looking there, Al? All good?
Spot on, mate. What kipper.
Yeah, these fish have grown a hell of a lot since I was here last time. I remember when these were doubles. Well, you know, they're all knocking about at sort of good 20s now, so absolutely marvellous. I hope this isn't the last one of the trip. It's the one rod tactic seems to be working, so just keep it going. Excellent. Well, that's about it from me for this evening, so yeah, it's ball cam out. Catch you in the morning.
Good morning, Wednesday 7:30 AM update, and not a lot to report overnight as it happens. I haven't actually mentioned about the details of the capture of that second fish, which I landed just before sort of last light. Really, it was just starting to pull in. It was probably about 6:30, maybe 6:45, and then by the time we actually dealt with the fish and got the photos and a little bit of filming done with the fish on the bank, it was probably after 7 o'clock, so it was already dark. Again, a lovely fish. Similar circumstances leading up to the capture as from the 25 pounder that I had sort of earlier, probably an hour or so before, maybe an hour and a half before. Literally watching the rod tip and just seeing the line just lifting and dropping, where I'm sort of semi-slack lining down to the back lead, and then along to that bush. Obviously I'm only fishing about 14 metres out, so it is it's very close. So there was indications that there was definitely something going on in the swim, and then it's literally, watching the line moving and twitching, and then the odd beep, and then, well, bang, literally pick up, and it's just got whack round to the right hand side, and it's, it really does get you going. Literally, obviously fishing with one rod, snag fishing, I'm sat right on top of the rod, and it is an exciting way of fishing, but you've got to be on your rods, because you just, you haven't got time just to let the fish run. It needs dealing with straight away. So the fish actually did behave. I think literally I picked into it, give it a little bit of left hand side strain, and it came out, and then it just sort of kited out into open water, and then just sort of dogged around and just kept deep, plugging along in the margins. Another really good fight, and then it went in the net, I think second time. It's one of those where you think they're ready, but they're not quite. So yeah, really happy to have landed that second fish. That one was 23 pound 10 ounces. In actual fact, Alex Bransby called it absolutely perfect. I said, "Oh, what's your predictions there now?" And he was like, "Whoa, I reckon 23.10." Well, he called it absolutely bang on. So that's someone who knows what they're doing. Good old Al. So other than that, the evening passed without incident. Sat with Al, had a couple of glasses of wine, a bit of ham and cheese, and just a sort of a light meal. Just sat here chatting until probably getting on for 10 o'clock, when I had to call time, because I was just absolutely shattered from having been up since whatever time it was, 3:30 the night before. So nothing to report overnight. I've just cranked the rig back in. There definitely has been some incidents of craze. The putty had been nipped off up the line, and on over the sinkers. So I'm going to pop a new rig back on. Might shorten it up slightly, maybe take an inch off the rig, go with 3 inches. I think that's probably going to be a starting point, and I think I'm probably going to work on the premise that the reason why I didn't get a bite last night was because I think this spot is more of a day spot. I think under the cover of darkness the fish probably do have a bit more confidence to move out into open water, and there were certainly signs yesterday evening that the fish had moved out the edges and had moved into open water. Whether it's off the bottom or not, I don't know. So I think my initial reaction yesterday evening was not to put the rod back in on the spot, and in the end I did, but it was kind of like, I wouldn't say half-heartedly, but probably not that confident. And as it was, I was proved right. I didn't get a bite. So bit of rig mechanics and sorting out this morning, and I'm going to ship some bait and the rig back onto the spot. And for now I'm going to stick with the one rod. I've not seen anything that's got me excited enough to think, right, I need to put another rod here. I think I'm just going to keep things simple. Managed 2 fish. Just keep plugging away. See if we can get another bite or 2 today. Well, that's about it for now. So it's ball cam out. Catch you later.
Well, we've got a bit of an update. It's about 11:30 AM now. A little bit late with the old breakfast, but got the old bacon going. I've got a visitor. Yes. Elvis, Gaz's dog. He's been growling at me most this morning, so this is the thanks that you get for, for inviting him onto my oval bed cover. Obviously it's nice and warm and comfortable, so yeah, he's been sat there, but if I move anywhere near him he starts growling, so and I don't think the smell of bacon is doing me any favours. Not a great deal to report actually since this morning. I've redone the single rod again, brought it in this morning. I think I mentioned earlier on, looked like it had seen a little bit of cray action. Hook bait was still on there, but the hook had been blunted a little bit. I think they've been playing basketball with it all night, and it's the telltale signs where even the putty up the line has been nipped for whatever reason. And I've found this before, the crays seem to I don't know, they're just whether they like the putty or it's just the consistency or the smell, and they just nip away at it. You can actually see the little pincer marks in it. So redid the rig, put it back out, and actually I wasn't 100% happy with it, so I decided to redo it, and I've got the rod absolutely bang on with the baiting pole again. I even put the GoPro, the little GoPro onto the back of the baiting spoon, which is it was really good actually to watch it back just to see exactly where I'm going. I'm sort of there's a bit of a slight bit of the bush which comes out, and I'm just going past that up to like the main sort of the main tree which is coming out, and it just dropped in lovely. So the sun's out, the bacon's on. It's sort of t-shirt weather, or it is here in it's a bit of a sun trap, and for late September it's absolutely glorious. So I'm going to get busy with the bacon, and hopefully I'll have something more fishy to report back with later on. Ball cam out, catch you later. Well, here I am back again, and it seems to be a bit of a recurring theme here where I'm reporting back and there's not been a great deal to report on, to be honest. I think it's knocking on the door of probably 6 PM now, Wednesday, and it's just been very, very, very quiet. Alex, who's a couple of swims down to my left, did have a couple of fish turn over on his open water spot, a couple of shows, which is good, and I think he's had a couple of shows sort of on his margin down to his left, so probably bodes a bit better for him. I've had no signs at all in my swim today. I did rest it probably for a couple of hours this afternoon just to bring that one the one rod in. Not gone mad with the bait again. It's probably had a couple of half scoops of the hemp and sweet corn, But other than that, I've kept everything the same as yesterday evening. And to be fair, it was sort of, it's at this time yesterday when I had that first bite. So, you know, working the cycle, you almost think, well, am I perhaps being maybe a little bit overly expectant that, you know, I'll get a bite again this evening at that time. You know, it might transpire that happens, but we've got a bit of a weather change. The wind did pick up earlier, didn't do a great deal, but I don't know, maybe 10 mile an hour wind, I suppose, but you know, it was enough to move the surface scum and the leaf matter that's coming off the trees, to move that around the pond a bit, and it's just started to rain. So I've took the skull cap off the Tempest there, and I've put the utility front on just to give me a little bit of extra room, and I've sort of stashed all my essential kit out of the rain, and I've got my skull cap as a barrow cover. So yeah, just trying to keep kit dry, because I think this is according to weather forecast, this is set in for the night now. So batten down the hatches, keep dry. We've got some nice food to cook up this evening, and well, let's see what happens. Hopefully a bite will be forthcoming for someone or some people this evening, so certainly hope so. Right, let's get the ball cam off because it's getting wet. Ball cam out. Well, you were sat with me, Gaz. How was that take?
That was savage.
Just a bit.
It ripped.
There wasn't a lot of warning before. I've been having a few little beeps and buzzes, so I thought, well, I'll put the GoPro down, try and get a bite on camera. And that literally just wrapped the rod. That was absolutely wicked. The joys of snag fishing. I don't get to do it very often. So. Come on. Get in. Oh yeah, that's number 3. Oh. Nice fish that, mate. Okay, that was superb. I think it just goes to show sometimes you just got to be a little bit patient. There's not been a lot going on all day, so probably could have got a little bit carried away and started baiting other spots and putting other rods out and trying to find other spots, but I was convinced that bush spot would do another bite, and sure enough it has. And I've just looked back at the footage of the take. It was absolutely ridiculous. Saying or talking about it being a screamer. Oh man, I'm glad that rod was locked down into position and I was on it pretty quick. Yeah, proper wraparound. So I'm going to get this fish out now, get it weighed. It's teeming down with rain, so I'm going to get the old ball cam undercover, get it weighed. I think I'll put it in the retention sling and wait for Gaz to come back round so that we can get some pictures and a bit of video of it. So for now, his ball cam out. Catch you in a bit. Well, good morning. When I say good morning, yeah, we can see that there. It's just before 3 a.m. and you're probably wondering what on earth you're doing up at this hour. Well, I've just been royally done. Put the rod back out after that third fish, which incidentally was £22.14. I'm not sure if I mentioned the weight earlier on. Again, another really nice long lean fighting machine of a fish.
proper pulled me about. But yeah, I put the rig back out, changed the rig. Went out obviously just perfectly new sharp hook, same hook bait combination, the fake corn and the bit of foam, and probably I reckon a third of a scoop of hemp and corn back out in the baiting pole and back on the spot. So by the time I put that rod back out, it was dark, but with the head torch just shining onto the bush, just got it in perfectly, dropped it in nice. I suppose I was probably expectant of, you know, would I get another bite sort of within the hour. As it was, it just went really quiet, didn't get any liners or anything. So probably 11 o'clock decided to turn in. I've got the rod completely locked into position, so there's no fear of the rod getting dragged in. But it is one of those, even though I'm only fishing with one rod, and literally the front of the the front of the bivvy is literally probably like 2 footsteps away from the rod. You know, any kind of beat and literally just flying out the bivvy onto the rod, and that's kind of what just happened about 20 minutes ago. Literally had a couple of beeps, head torch on, boots on, and as I've literally come out the bivvy door, it's wrapped properly, bang, bobbin shot up, heard it hit the rod blank, and it's dropped back down again. And I thought, something ain't quite right here. So anyway, I've wound the rig in. They've definitely had me over. So quick check of the rig, the hook point had been blunted, so I've just replaced everything and then put it back out with the baiting pole and just reduced the amount of bait, probably down to half a handful. So just try and get another bite going into the morning. It does seem, if it does follow a pattern, yesterday morning the swim was dead. There just no signs at all, no line bites, nothing really. So just trying to do whatever I can do to get a bite before dawn. So 3 fish on the bank, don't get me wrong, I'm happy. The fishing's been tricky as I predicted before the start of this session. I thought it was going to be like this, and you know, I've been proven right, even though I've not been here for 5 years. I remember before they were tricky, these fish, so you know, you had to have your wits about you. So that's where we are now. It's probably getting on for 3 o'clock. I think it's time to switch the ball cam off and get back to sleep, and I think I'm going to set my alarm for 6 o'clock and get a coffee on the go, I think, at 6 o'clock, and hopefully I'll have something to report later on. So for now, it's ball cam out. Good night. Alright, good morning. Well, it's 8:30 Thursday morning, and the rain has moved on, fortunately. No further action for me after my last update, which was in the early hours. Did have a few bleeps and buzzes, which might have been the crayfish just having a bit of a play, but I'm going to check that rod in a bit. News from around the pond. Big Joel Hammond, I think he might have lost a fish in the night. Just checking on a little Blue Pool WhatsApp group. So yeah, I think a loss for Big Joe, and also a bit of an incident where I think he's come steaming out his bivvy and slipped over in the mud, from what I've heard, allegedly. So that sounds quite amusing. Aside from that, Alex Bransby, who's down in the swim to my left, I think he's been on a bit of a mission this morning. I'm hearing reports of either 2 or 3 fish landed in sort of short succession after first light. So he's had a blinding morning after effectively not having any action, so that's brilliant. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm probably going to crank my single rod in, and then go down and investigate what Al's been up to, and yeah, see if I can get some of his fish on camera. That'll be good. So yeah, for now it's ball cam out. Catch you in a bit.
Oh, what's been going on then, mate?
Well, a bit of carnage this morning, starting at about 6 AM this morning with a ferocious take off the right hand rod placed in the margin. That one came off unfortunately, felt like a really good fish. Managed to get it back out on the spot about a quarter of an hour later. 10 minutes after that, it just ripped off again, landed that. That was a nice mirror, about £20 mirror. Then there was some fizzing further out to my left, further down the margin, about 60-yard cast. So I brought in my left-hand rod, sacrificed it and put it out long. That shot off. Brought that in, that's another £21 mirror. And then I managed to get the rod back out on the spot pretty quickly because there's a lot of fizzing action going on out there. And again, about 20 minutes later, it roared off again. And we're just about to wire up now, get some pics.
Beautiful,
Happy
good
days.
work, mate.
Yeah,
What a morning.
mate. Yeah, it's been good, been great.
Surprising that.
23.7, that'll do.
Okay, good afternoon. The bull cam is rolling. I haven't got a great deal to update yet. Again, that seems to be the story of this session. It's I'm getting a chance or a couple of chances around about the same time each evening. So with that in mind, I'm getting my rods prepped a little bit earlier. I've been having a bit of a tidy up as well. We're off in the morning, so we've decided that we're going to stay the Thursday night, see it out to the death on Friday morning. We've already had Big Joe Hammond. He's already left. He's on his way, so he finished on one fish, and then young Tom Gibson, who's made the trek all the way down from Huddersfield in Yorkshire. He's also going to be on his way in a bit. I think he's just doing a few bits to camera with Gaz. So I think it's been a bit of a learning curve for Tom. First time on the venue, and I'm not talking out of turn here. I think if he had his time again, I think his swim choice would have been different. I've seen how he fished and what he did. Not doing anything wrong at all, but I think the fish were a bit tricky, and they kind of moved away from the area where the pressure was up that top end. Ben and Jerry, there's one for you, and Tom all up one end. And I think what it's done, especially with me only fishing one rod and leaving the open water clear, it kind of opened the door for the fish to move through. We've got no one on the far bank. And it opened the door for Alex, and then Alex having 4 bites this morning. It's almost what you'd expect. The weather changed yesterday, the wind came, it brought with it the rain, and it just kind of freshened everything up, and the fish switched on this morning, and they were fizzing, they were rolling, they were jumping, and they were all over Alex. And it's not surprising, in the space of 2 hours, in a short window, he's had 2 bites.
Wrong, it's actually 4 bites.
So great angling from Al, and it just goes to show, in that 48-hour segment, he had 2 hours to make it happen, and he made the most of it. And I think he was a bit unlucky to lose his first fish, but he capitalised on it, didn't let his head drop, and got the rig back out and literally had a bite straight away. Again, it just reiterates, whether it's a small venue or a big venue, if you get a bite, leave the fish in the net. It's not going to go anywhere. Get the rod back out as soon as you can. It's something that we've advocated before, certainly on even on the busier waters like Brasenose 1 or Brasenose 2. If there's one fish there, more often than not there's another, so you've always got another chance, and obviously make the most of those opportunities. So that's kind of where we're at the moment. Alex has gone up the shop just to replenish supplies. We were sort of, are we going to do 2 nights or 3 nights? Well, we've run out of food, so we need replenishment. So yeah, that's about it. What else have I been up to? Yes, I've actually brought a second rod into play. Well, I've dropped a rod in there as well. So I've got the single rod in here up to the bush to the right, and then I've got that rod in the peg next door. So I shall give that a go. Not sure whether I'll leave it out overnight, because again, it's fishing down the edge, and there's a bit of woodwork there. So, but I think I'll probably leave that one until dark, or to when I go to bed, and then I'll bring that one in, and then I've just got this one rod here. But focus for tonight, try and replicate and get at least a bite off these 2 rods before dark, and I think that's realistic. So until later, if there is anything to report, I'll be back. If not, it's ball cam out, and I'll see you later. All looks good. Right, let's do a drop with the GoPro on, so you can see exactly what I'm doing. Right, bit of the hempen corn into the spoon. That's lovely. Right, and what I've been doing is literally just laying the rig out with the hook bait right up the top, and then just putting a little bit just to pack it in, and then on each time I've been getting off the right hand side of the baiting spoon, so it means I can, as long as I tip right, it's not going to tangle. So right, I've still got the phone there just so I can see that everything is in view. Right, let's just drop this down. We don't want to go out too far, so we don't want to put too much strain on the old carbon, as the old baiting pole is designed to be floated out. Right, that should start to take up the slack. Right, there we go. Right, all I need to do now is open the bail on. There we go. Hopefully that won't coil off too much. Right, let's get the other section and just line that up. Okay, get that final section into position. Right, we're in. Okay, now it's a case of just watching the line come off the reel. That's great. And then I can move into position whilst would you believe it, the line's just got caught on that branch. There's a chance of that. Right, okay, we're good. Okay, we're moving deeper into enemy territory now, and I don't know if you can, how well you can see this. What I'm doing, I'm actually shipping the pole out, floating it out there. I've got the single extension on, and then what I'm doing, I don't need the bite alarm on, do I? Right, I'm actually moving, so I just nudge, there's a twig there, yeah, which I've just nudged, and I'll move it slightly to the right, and then we drop, and it's down. So literally just turn the pole to the right, rig drops out, and out comes the bait, and it really is as simple as that. Then what I'm doing is I'm retrieving, dropping 2 sections out at a time, and it's job done. It's Gary Hood. So there we go, we've got a rig back on Bully's Bush. Right, okay. Well, there's a reason why I've got a fresh rig in my hand. I've just had my 4th fish, which is yeah, very, very good. I think we're about 5:30 now, so kind of round about that time. Actually, no, I tell a lie. No, it's just after 5 o'clock, so it's still that kind of, you know, that late afternoon time seems to be the one. And similar to yesterday and the day before, started to get a few little liners, little lifts of the little bobbin, cut the bleeps. So I almost took that as like an early warning sign. So I got the GoPro down by the rod again, and just using the app on my phone just to kind of like record a couple of minutes, stop it, start it again, you know, with the hope that there might be a bite. And then it sort of kind of went a little bit quiet, and I thought, oh, I might have, you know, have I been done? Has the rig been moved? But I did not need to worry, because it absolutely wrapped, and I've got it on the GoPro. I haven't had a chance to have a look at the footage yet, but it just proper surged, and I'm so glad that I've used that tent peg along with the snag arms and the butt grip just to lock the rod in, because the takes have been absolutely ferocious. I haven't done any snag fishing for a while, and I'm really chuffed that that's 4 hooked and 4 landed, and I'm hooking them and I'm getting them in, and that's what it's all about when you're snag fishing. You know, I'm close to the rod. When it goes, I'm literally having a pounce on it. So as you can tell, I'm smiling, I'm well happy. So just going to redo the rig, exactly the same presentation as before. The addition of the putty just to set the make sure the hook link stays pinned to the bottom, and again a 3-inch coated braid hook link with the spinner rig and the corn and the bit of foam on it. So yeah, simple as that. So I'm going to get this rig back out and some more hemp and corn in the spoon, and then we can have a look at this carp. It looked an absolute banger when I saw it in the net, so well happy. Ball cam out. We rolling now?
Rolling.
Well, we got Mr. B back on the ball cam. Fourth fish. And certainly the pick of the bunch so far. Just slightly larger than the first fish that I had on Tuesday. 25 pound, 6 ounces, off of Bully's Bush, as I've nicknamed it, because it's it's been very friendly to me. What a mint carp. The bite again was just breathtaking. I had a few liners, few little bleeps, obviously just to let me know they were in the area, and I managed to get the GoPro down by the rod just in time. I literally probably went quiet for 5 minutes, and then just an epic bite and a mega battle, and this lovely blue pool mirror carp on the end. I'm absolutely made up. 4 fish going into the 3rd night. For me, it's job done. Mega session. Ball cam out. Right, I should just let her go.
Oh man. Well, good morning. It's 7 AM. First brew of the day is on the go, and let's just say last night was a good sleep. No hauling last night. After that slightly earlier bite off the bush, I was quite expectant of another bite, to be honest, because that was the earliest bite that I've managed off the rod. So did get a few signs that there were fish down there, getting the odd liner. And normally when you get a liner or a little pull or a lift, then normally, certainly with the previous, those 4 captures that I was lucky enough to have, then if there was some activity in the swim, a bite would normally follow, but it didn't happen. So it was a very quiet night. It rained fairly heavy again overnight, so it's going to be a bit of a wet pack down, but I'm not overly bothered by that. So yeah, not really a great deal to report. Seem to have said that quite a few times. It's been very much sort of fits and starts of action, and I'm glad I've sort of found out on that first afternoon, evening, that was a time of day that I absolutely needed to have a rod in place. So, and it's kind of followed a similar process. Sort of Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday afternoon, and then yesterday. So I suppose to come out with 4 fish, I really can't complain, and I certainly would have snatched someone's hand off to have the option of 4 fish before this session started. So I think it was 2 25s, a 23 and a 22. So all really nice sized fish. In terms of what I've been doing, because there hasn't been a lot going on, I've kind of made a start on the edit for this, to be honest. Sort of got into bed last night, I don't know, it must have been about 10:30, I suppose, and I did feel really tired, and then try to go to sleep, and then, as sometimes happens, you actually, I couldn't sleep. So I thought, well, I might as well start just getting all the footage and stuff together, downloaded on the iPad. So I think I had about 120 clips to go through, just to sift through the stuff that I'm going to use and not use. And then I made a start on the edit. I've done a little bit more this morning, so it seems quite a little bit bizarre that while the session's still going, the edit's already started, but it's got to be put down and done at some point, and it's part of it that I really enjoy. So while you're sat there waiting for it to happen in the dark, you might as well make the most of your time. So I suppose to sum up the session, it's been really good. Gaz Hood has also been down filming. You might have seen him kind of come into shot on a couple of occasions. So Gaz has done his own thing, but that's linking in everybody else that's been here. So Tom, Alex, Ben and Jerry Hammond. and myself. So I look forward to seeing the the end edit on that. Obviously there's going to be some crossover because of the action that Gaz has filmed, and we've also filmed on the ball cam, so that'll be interesting, because it's probably going to be a bit of an alternative interpretation. So I look forward to seeing that one. So obviously please keep an eye on that through Tracker social media as well. Your support and views are always appreciated, and we hope that you enjoy them. So I think as far as I'm concerned, I'm gonna have to start packing up in a little while. It doesn't look like another bite is going to be forthcoming, which is a bit of a shame, but not to worry. So from the Blue Pool, and obviously the rest of the lads who are still here, myself, Alex, Ben and Gaz, it's ball cam out. Till the next time.